The Boys creator, Garth Ennis, called his upcoming comic the most horrific thing he has ever written in an interview. This is shocking coming from a writer whose credits also include Preacher and Crossed, a zombie series so intense that even Robert Kirkman of Walking Dead couldn't handle it. Ennis talked about his story, The War, which will be included in the next Boom Studios comic anthology, Hello Darkness, in an interview with the YouTube channel Comic Book Herald. Ennis elucidated the story's response to the present turmoil in Ukraine. According to Ennis, the latest narrative delves into the possible outcomes that the ongoing conflict in Ukraine may truly portend. He just revealed that the story is dark, even by his infamous standards, and declined to provide any further information. Garth Ennis carried on Alan Moore's legacy by moving the comic book medium from cheerful superheroes to a grimy critique. The clearest example of this is in The Boys, a work he co-created with artist Derek Robertson. The author is well known for his love of extreme violence, shocking and graphic content, and brutality that is terrible. His works include sci-fi action titles like Judge Dredd and supernatural novels like Preacher, which are among the most well-known and widely distributed comics of the contemporary era. Known for his adult, violent, and gritty comics, the creator has hinted at a new plot that is especially vicious. Garth Ennis discussed his upcoming war comic in an interview with Comic Book Herald. "I've written a story about Ukraine, the current conflict there," he said. "Not directly, although I do have a tale coming up that will be serialized in Boom Th's upcoming horror anthology. I think it's called Hello, Darkness." Becky Cloonan created amazing artwork for the story. "We call it The War. It talks on what the current crisis in Ukraine might actually be a sign of. I'll only add that it could be the most horrifying thing I've ever written." Ennis and Dave of Comic Book Herald first explained his next book before drawing a comparison to the author's previous work, A Walk Through Hell. The writer clarified the difference by pointing out that his last comic was a story about the supernatural, while The War is based largely on actual occurrences, which gives it a scarier quality than the supernatural. The magnitude and devastation of the Ukraine war, as well as its potential consequences, will determine the level of horror in his next novel. Comics like Sarah and more recent miniseries like The Lion and the Eagle and even Get Fury show how brutally Ennis portrays combat. In contrast to the way that vintage war comics frequently minimize the brutality of combat, Ennis war stories seem more like an effort to fully immerse readers in history, complete with the good, the terrible, and the ugly. Because of this, very few artists are as ideally suited to address a continuous fight as Garth Ennis, the creator of The Boys. Furthermore, very few would handle it with a grim, honest look at war as he would, as shown by his previous war comics.